Hello and welcome back to another Rush Duel Links video. Today we're going to be going over some of the brand new leaks that we have just had data mined from Rush Duel Links, and we did kind of expect a new Rush product to be coming out soon. I think some people wanted a super mini, some people expected a deck build, some people thought about a structure deck. Personally, I was hoping for just a mini box because the more cards the better, but it turns out we are getting a deck build box, Infinite Grand Crush. So in this box, we're getting an Overrush version of Constructor Worm Bill Dragon. We're getting the Constructor Skyworm Gantry Dragon, which is another really cool worm boss, which did see a decent amount of play in the OCG. And we'll also be getting the Kuriboh Fusion. So yeah, it's an interesting fusion monster, but these aren't all the cards that we had leaked. So overall, we have quite a few cards to go over. Now, notably, not all of these cards will be from the deck build box. If we take a look at deck build boxes from the past, the latest one we had only had 5 URs in it, and in general, they only have about 6 or 7 brand new cards in them, and the rest of them are reprints. We saw something similar with the previous one, Divine Genesis Blade. So going into this box, we know that our URs are going to be Construct Skyworm Gantry Dragon, we know we're going to be getting Bill Dragon. We can then assume we're probably going to get Dragline as kind of a worm package. That leaves probably about 2 UR slots available. Now, there's a good chance we get the Kuriboh as a reprint in there, and that would only leave 1 spot available, and I think that's probably going to be the Seed Crotron Rustlin. Now, we did have the worm skill changes a little while back, so we did predict that we'd be getting this card, along with the super rare Permalind Hictatron, as well as the Sigistate Soul Fusion, which seems to be nowhere in sight. So Fenririta Soul is a card that we were expecting to get in the next product, but obviously we haven't got it. I would assume this card will probably come sooner than later. It's nothing like super crazy, which is why we thought it was going to come out, but it's an interesting card. Made using Sigistate Soul and Connect Dog, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, draw a card. Then if your opponent has a monster on their field, you can special summon a Cyberse type monster from your hand face up to your field. So this card is an interesting card. We get to mill ourselves, we get a plus, we get to special summon from our hand. It's alright. It's nothing like crazy, but it's decently strong. But again, we're not getting this card. What we are getting is the Permalind Hictatron. So if we have 3 or more Cyberse type effect monsters in our graveyard, we can draw 2 cards, then place 1 card from our hand on the bottom of our deck. So this effect is, it's fine. The only issue is, if this is the only Cyberse fusion we're going to have access to, is it even worth playing the fusion spell card? Is it even worth having that card in the deck to sometimes make a monster that is a little bit awkward to use and basically just lets you draw a card? Now, it does let you cycle through, which is nice, because basically when you're playing Cyberse, one of the major strategies we're seeing at the moment is the Beyond Curiosity skill, which is Turbo Yggdrago, so just filtering through your deck is really good. But would you want to play fusion as effectively a soft brick in your deck to maybe go into this, have it to be maybe online, to maybe have it be useful? I personally don't really think so. The other Cyberse card we're getting is Seed Crotron Rustlin. This is a 2400 attack, 1600 defense, and notably one of the skills was updated to be used with 1500 or higher defense monsters, which means this is a target. So during the turn that we normal summon this card, we can send the top card of our deck to the graveyard. Then if a Cyberse type monster was sent to the graveyard by this effect, we can add Cyberse type monsters with 0 defense from our graveyard to our hand, up to the number of face-up monsters on your opponent's field. So notably, all of the maximum pieces have 0 defense. So if your opponent has 3 face-up monsters and we have the entirety of Yggdrago in the graveyard, we can activate Rustlin and just grab all 3 maximum pieces back to our hand, which can be really, really strong. So next up, we'll talk about the worm cards, and the brand new boss monster we're getting is Constructor Skyworm Gantry Dragon. So this is 2500 attack, 2000 defense, pretty decent stats. If a face-up field spell is on the field, so notably it doesn't have to be yours, there just has to be a field spell, special summon a Constructor Worm Bill Dragon from your graveyard face up to your field. This turn you can only attack with worms, so only attacking with worms is fine. But the general combo that you really want to see with this is that you go Gantry Dragon into Bill Dragon, and then Bill Dragon will summon out Drake Crush, which is the level 7, 2400 attack vanilla. Under the field spell, all these monsters would then gain 400 attacks, so you'd have 2 2900s and a 2800 attack monster, which is very, very strong. Now, that does work quite well in OCG because we run a higher number of high-level monsters. In Rush, though, we're seeing kind of 4 to 5, maybe 6 maximum boss monsters, and that does cause some issues because of the difference in deck size. So we don't really want to be running, let's say, 3 Gantry Dragon, 3 Bill Dragon, 3 Drake Crush, because running 9 boss monsters is a little bit ridiculous. So I think what the probable go-to thing will be is that we'll drop Drake Crush altogether and basically just bring back a low-level vanilla using Build Dragon's effect, and just try and use Gantry Dragon to just basically get us a 325 and then maybe a 15 on top. Again, with the field spell, they'll be bigger anyway, but overall, Gantry Dragon I think is still going to be good, but I think it's going to have less of an impact than it had in the OCG, just because of the differences in the way that we approach deck building between the two games. And the other worm monster we're getting is Constructor, Sentry, Dragline. So shuffle 3 worm-type monsters from your graveyard into the deck. Okay, so recycling. Okay. Special summon a level 8 worm monster from your graveyard face up to your field. Now, notably, Gantry is level 8, and Build Dragon is level 8. So what we could do if we had both is go into Gantry and then use Gantry's effect to go into Build Dragon, and then use Build Dragon's effect to summon another monster from the graveyard. But if we summoned a Constructor Worm Build Dragon using Dragline's effect, we can add a Worm-type monster with 0 defense from our graveyard to our hand. Now again, the Worm-type maximum monsters do have 0 defense, but I don't think you'd probably want to play Build Dragon in a deck with the maximum. There's going to be a bit of a clash there, but that is potentially something you could do. Otherwise, you could just use this to get back the Build Dragon, and then immediately get another worm with 0 defense back to your hand. Now, this is a really powerful card, and that's probably why it's a UR. Being able to basically just summon a monster, and then for free, all we have to do is shuffle cards back from our graveyard into the deck. Special summon a boss out, which also both of these bosses do then get you another plus by getting another card back. That is so much free advantage. Building a board out of basically nothing for free is really, really powerful. So Dragline is probably going to be pretty decent. Now, this isn't going to fix a lot of the Worms' other issues. Worms still aren't very good at getting through set 3 pass. Worms still are not very good at dealing with giant monsters, so we are going to have to do something about that. We have to use a skill or other cards in the deck to either boost our attack, lower our opponent's attack, or give us piercing, or something of the like, because although it's cool that Worms can build a board out of nothing and that board can be really big, unfortunately, they still do have a lot of shortcomings that do lead them to having some really bad matchups, such as against things like Chemicalized and things like Dragon Fusion. So next up, we'll talk about Kuriboh Torero. So it's a fusion made of Kuriboh and Siesta Torero, and I do believe we are getting Siesta Torero as a reprint in the box as well, which is quite nice because it was a selection box exclusive before. But we can pay 500 life points to return a defense position monster on your opponent's field to the owner's hand. Now this effect is quite good. The downside is we have to run Kuriboh, we have to run Siesta Torero, and we have to run Fusion. And there aren't many decks that would want to be running all 3 of those cards. Like, maybe you would play this in, like, Heroes, but then you wouldn't want to be playing Kuriboh. Maybe you could play this in Celestial Warriors, but then the skill gets a little bit awkward. It's not easy to find room in a deck for this card, but the effect isn't bad, right? Being able to get rid of defense position monster is quite good. And the other issue being that its stats are also quite low, only 1200 attack and only 2200 defense. Next up, we'll talk about Biz Armor. So Biz Armor is an interesting spell card. I'm not really sure where we would use this, but we can place 3 level 7 or higher monsters with different types from your graveyard on the top or bottom of your deck in any order. Add a normal monster from your graveyard to your hand, then you can make one face-up monster in your opponent's field lose 1500 attack to the end of this turn. So this is very awkward. I can't really think of any decks you'd want to play this in. Just going by the art, we can see this is meant to be used with like the 3 Cavaliers, the Mega Elephant, the Night Vision, and Shield Boring Kong. But realistically, I don't think you'd really want to be playing this in most constructed decks. Playing 3 different types of level 7 or higher monsters is a little bit awkward. And you could just play Talismanic Sealer, which is going to be better than this most of the time, but maybe there's some funny things we can cook up with this card. So next up, we're going to talk about our Earth Pyro monsters. And I would expect, since there is a UR, an SR, a rare, and a normal, I would expect these to be like Card Trader or something adjacent to that. That's what would make sense to me. But these cards are interesting. So this is Doki Doki Hexenhaus, and its effect is actually not awful. So it's only got 2300 attack, which is not great. But during the turn that you normal summon this card, we can special summon a Pyro type normal monster from your graveyard face up to your field. Now, right now, the best target for that is going to be Chromatographicus. That's a 2500 vanilla. So basically just get this out, you get this and a Chromatographicus. That's not awful. It's not particularly fantastic, and without a skill, I don't know how useful this is going to be, but it is interesting. And the next card we're going to get is an SR, and I'm going to butcher this name, Dagul's Langdi Shakoki. I have no idea how we're supposed to pronounce this, but this is a Pyro Earth monster as well. Level 5. We don't really like level 5s. but during the turn that you normal summon this card, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Then if a Pyro type monster is among the cards sent, you can add 1 level 6 or higher Pyro type monster from your graveyard to your hand. So this effect is good, milling is good, getting a boss back from the graveyard is good, but it's on a level 5 body, which is bad. We don't really want it. Its attack stat is very pitiful, so not super great. And then for the rare, we have the level 6 Dogos Jamont Blanc, which is, again, just a level 6 vanilla with mediocre stats, not particularly interesting. And then finally, we have Hana Waffle, which is a very nice looking card. Unfortunately, it's just a level 2 normal monster with 800 attack, so nothing particularly interesting. And then finally, the last cards that we have had revealed are going to be the cards we already knew we were getting in Tearfang and the Voidveiled Black Dwarf. But then one extra card was announced that did kind of take me by surprise. This is Darkhold Device. And this card came out as support for Dark Galaxy a little bit later after we had Darkhold release. And this card saw a lot of play with Apocalypse. Now, I don't think we're going to get Apocalypse yet, but I thought we'd talk about it because this is kind of what we used to play Darkhold Device with. So this is a fusion between Pale Rider, which is the 1600 vanilla, and Dark Prophet, which we don't have yet. But send a card from your hand to the graveyard this turn. This card gains 1000 attack, cannot be destroyed by card effects, which means we can Darkhold Device this or just Darkhold it and it doesn't go away. Then if you have activated this effect during the main phase this card was special summoned, we can add Darkhold from our graveyard to our hand. And that is why this card's name becomes Darkhold while in the graveyard, because if we do have Apocalypse, we can just add it back to our hand. But what does this card do? Send 3 Dark Attribute Galaxy type monsters from your hand to the graveyard, or have a face-up Dark Attribute Galaxy type monster on the field, and then destroy all monsters on the field. So very, very powerful, destroy everything, doesn't care about level, doesn't care about anything else. It's sort of like Dragonic Pressure in that way. And then we can add a Galaxy type monster from our graveyard to our hand. This is definitely going to give Galaxy an extra leg up, because again, Galaxy is a deck that already has a skill that gives them a plus every single turn. Now, we don't know exactly how this is going to work. We don't know if we're getting this card in the box. We don't know if this is going to be some sort of event reward. We don't know if we're going to only get limited copies. We don't know if this is just going to be an NPC card played by yugioh. But this card is coming out at limit 2 on release, which does imply we will probably be getting our hands on it, which is a little bit spooky. This could be a really, really big buff to Dark Galaxy, and I think this did take a lot of people by surprise. But yeah, that is it for the leaks. Overall, I am excited for these cards. I do think that the new WYRMS cards and the new Cyberse cards are pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to playing with them. The new Dark Galaxy stuff does seem very interesting. I think if we do get Darkhold Device, it's going to be very, very powerful, and I'm looking forward to playing with it. I am a little bit disappointed that it's just going to be a deck build. I was kind of hoping for a mini, but hopefully we will see a new product sooner rather than later. But thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.